Cool. Okay, I think that's it. Wow. Okay, let me get Teams running. Hi, David. Hi, David. David, are you there?
Yeah, Salman, what's up? What's up?
Hi,
Yeah,
hi.
I'm right here. Can you hear me?
Cool. Yeah. Hopefully everyone can hear me as well.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Am I audible?
Let me know if everyone can hear us as well in the chat. And
Yeah, I think, oh yeah, I'm audible, right?
yeah, I can definitely hear you, David.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Imran, yeah, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's a tiny bit of lag with your microphone,
Oh,
but
Simran said
it's okay.
she likes the intro video. Thanks so much, Simran. Hi, Ganesh. Hi, Ayush. Uh, Hi, Anaf. Trying to pronounce everyone's name here.
Yeah, hi Annika. Hi. Oh, hey Sam. Whoa.
Oh,
Hey Anna. Hey
cool. I
Sam.
think I'm gonna get it fixed. Just a minute.
Cool. So unfortunately, Gomo couldn't make it today. It was a last minute thing. I'm not sure exactly if we can say, but yeah. So he won't be here today, but you know I'll be covering today's session, and I'll be here with Dawood. Um, just as I said that he has lost internet connection. Hi Rocky. Hi everyone. I hope I can suffice for today. I prefer to go more into the XAML desktop dev side of things, but you know I also do dabble a bit in the Blazor side. Hi Oswald. I'm just waiting for Dawood to. I think he's restarting his router. He does that normally when his connection goes off. So who here is familiar with .NET? .NET as in C# or VB, so Visual Basic. Myself, I actually started off doing Visual Basic. You are getting a call. No, that's just Dawood's trying to reconnect, which is I'll show you. There's some internet problems, so I'm gonna recall him when he comes back. Hey, Damila. Yeah. So who's into C# or .NET here? .NET. Yeah, .NET. Anyone? So making websites. Your general idea of making websites. Oh, there we go. Here's Dawood. Hello, Dawood. Your mic's muted.
Yes, I'm hoping that now I'm clear. So clear. Everyone can hear me, hopefully.
Awesome. Yes. Yes. So hopefully.
Do I have some background noise?
No.
As
It's
if
all
a
fine.
plane is moving?
No. Not at all. Not at all.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
So what we could actually show everyone is what we've been working on as an open source project. Actually, we've been working on this. So this is kind of gonna be what we'll show you how to do. Let me get my Edge Canary. And if anyone's wondering why I have Chrome open, I use it for streaming, because YouTube's like that and doesn't let you use Edge. So we're gonna create a website which looks like this. Let me get it up here. So this is just a very, very basic, simple website using C#. We've got, say, just like some tags, an image. We've got a page. This is broken, and we will fix this in the demo for you. And then we've got certificates, how to get your MSP certificate, and we've got a page on that. This is just, this comes with like the demo project. And then videos, this is something where Gomo actually worked on this. Unfortunately, Gomo's not here, so I helped a bit with making some changes here as well, but I think we'll let Gomo in the future, if he comes on, to go more in depth into this. but it's nice. He's made some cool things, and you know, you can search. So yeah, this is all open source as well. If you want to check it out on the MSPInspire GitHub repo, we're gonna basically show you how you can do this, and it will be pretty
Yeah.
fun.
I think I really share like great interest in some of these things because I remember when I was starting with web development, that was I think was it 2014 or where yeah I think yeah, and I really found lots of problem with it, but I needed a community that could really guide me, and the community wasn't there, right? And this is what we try to give in MSP Inspire, making sure that people have the community, making sure that people have those who are there to really support them, right? I mean, you can just literally tune in every Saturday, 4:30 the same time, and then you have amazing guys on, on MSP Inspire really trying to, get you started on .NET. So we do not have Gomo here, but we have me and we have Salman. All right. I'm a good experienced web developer. That's my profession, and seeing what um, Blazor can do, it's really, really inspiring. So it is a thing I want to be part. So let's get it started. Yeah, let's see. I think we are going to learn along. So do not worry, even if you are a beginner. And if you're not a beginner, I promise you're going to take something away.
Yeah, definitely. It's if you're like new to .NET, like don't worry. We're gonna go straight from the beginning. So how you can just do simple things in console, and then of course we're gonna show you how you can do that website thing at the end. So if you're a bit like if you find this bit at the beginning boring, don't worry. It's gonna pick up the pace. It's just to get people kick started. So I mean this is just a console application. So you know how you can do all your programs. You can run programs from the command line and you use an interface. David, you can see my screen, right? David, let me open this in preview actually. And David's lost connection again. So if
Yes, but I'm right here. You can hear me, right?
okay, yeah,
Awesome.
can hear you.
Yeah, I lost connection, but I'm back. Cool.
Cool. Okay, so David's gonna be like the audience basically. So if any of you have questions, he will be asking those. He's gonna be he of course he has experience, but he's also newer to C sharp as I guess. Well, I mean he has
Yeah.
experience in it. He did his final year project using C sharp, but I guess I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
I'm new here. I'm new right here. Okay, I'm new here. I mean, we fun to learn new stuff. I mean, every day, the industry is, moving at a fast rate, and it's been 1 year since I actually did fun stuff with C Sharp, like build actual projects. So it's great. Like I'm new here.
Ganesh wants to join the call. Should we just add him to the call? Do you want to do that?
I Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. Let's. I think this is one thing I want us to, be doing sometimes. I mean, let's just pick one person from the audience to join us sometimes.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Ganesh, you're in.
Oh.
Let's add Ganesh. Okay, no one else. Okay, it's Ganesh. The Ganesh used to always be like, oh, like against C sharp, okay, against .NET, and then as a person of many Microsoft, passions, I guess you could say. I try to get a lot of people on .NET on the Microsoft bandwagon and stuff.
Hey, hey,
Um,
hey, hey.
and there you go. Here we have Ganesh, a former .NET hater. I'm joking. A former like
Yeah.
non.NET person, and he since then has created a certificate and certificate generator and stuff. So check him out on social media as well. Okay, cool. Hope you all can see my screen. We're gonna get into this because I'm waffling. When you start Visual Studio, this is Visual Studio 2019 preview. So it's got the latest and greatest stuff. You get a menu which looks sort of like this. And if you want to create a new project, we're going to start off with a console application. So we're going to click create a new project. And again, this is just to get everyone eased into the whole process. We're not going to dive straight into the website yet. We'll go into this later. And we're going to try to keep this short, so under an hour. Hi Hamza, hi Anav. Okay, so we're going to do a console app, and it's going to be .NET Core. Right. Okay. First of all, the difference between .NET Core and .NET Framework. Do any of you want to say it, Ganesh or David?
Oh, I learned online somewhere, and they said that with .NET Core, you can actually build a project and then it can run on Mac and then run in Windows. I mean, run everywhere, just like the Java backmind. Okay, so and I also know that with .NET it only runs on Windows. I don't know whether it's actually correct, but that's what I learned.
Ganesh, you can add a bit in there.
So yeah, whatever Dauda has said is correct, but they took the .NET framework, which was available from, I don't know, much earlier, and they made it open source and available to be running on any platform, I guess. So ASP.NET Core websites can be hosted on Linux, and there are also some frameworks which natively, I think there is an Avalonia or something. So basically, with .NET Core, you can develop apps for Linux also.
Yeah. So yeah, you pretty much all summed it up. You can go onto like the Microsoft repository and you can look into .NET and you can see, okay, you've got .NET, you've got ASP.NET, you've got a bunch of things. So .NET Core is open source, and .NET Core, as mentioned, is mainly aimed for cross-platform. There will be things like um, cases where it might say there's .NET, but you're doing a WPF project or a UWP project or something like that. But then Windows UI itself is only available in Windows. So there can be a bit of confusion there, but majority of the time when you talk about .NET Core, it basically means, yeah, as mentioned in the chat as well by Anjem, it's cross-platform. So we're going to just go with .NET Core. When you're starting out, it doesn't really matter, and our Blazor app's going to be using ASP.NET. So .NET Core. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna click next, and we're gonna breeze through this. Okay, I'm just gonna change the location of this to be on my, you know, something. It's called that. Okay, I need to create a folder. Okay, something. We'll choose this folder, and we're gonna create our console app. And we will load. So you can also do this from the command line as well, but just for simplicity's sake, we're using Visual Studio. I prefer Visual Studio because it's a full-fledged editor, IDE from Microsoft, and you get nice auto-completion. So this is...
So I think before you go on, for one to be able to run the C# codes and then .NET and all those stuff, I mean, they literally need to, install some particular software, right? What software is that?
So
Uh, mhm.
this is Visual Studio, but you can also create a .NET project from the command line as well. If you want to do it from the command line, you still have to install the SDK for C#, but
Okay.
yeah, you don't actually have to install Visual Studio. You can also create a .NET project from the command line, and you have commands like .NET Run and things like that to run them. So yeah, just for simplicity's sake, we're gonna just go straight into it with Visual Studio. Over
Awesome.
here, you have your Windows, so you have your code, so your program file, and then you have your static void main class. So your main class, if your every project needs to have a main class, basically it needs to look for an entry point, and you have your arguments. So for example, if you want to pass things in from the command line into this program, you can use this. So it's a string array and it's named arguments. You can also go
Okay.
into your project here. If you want to actually specify them without using the command line, you can go into debug and you can go into application arguments, and this will be a string which comes in, and you can have a string array and pass that in. Hamza, you can find links to the documentation at docs.microsoft.com. And then they have a whole bunch of resources. If you go on, docs.com, because Microsoft has that domain as well, you can use that. Okay, so again, we're going to go straight really fast through this. You can
Okay.
either run the application here, or if some of you... are you familiar more with the command line, would you say?
Yeah, I think yes, I actually love the command line. I feel sometimes doing things there is more fun. I mean, the black screen in particular.
Yeah.
I So it means that you actually didn't write anything. I mean, you just went into Visual Studio and then you created a project choosing .NET Core, right? And then there you go. It's created for you. You chose that you wanted console application, and then you had this.
Yeah.
And literally, you could run it and it prints Hello World.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
If you do want to do that, I see you're interested in more of the, the style where you're using a black box. You can just go into the repository, and let's get the folder. So we have a folder, I guess you could say, directory. And if you want to, this is a nice, cool feature for those of you who use Windows. You can type PowerShell up here, and then it will launch the directory in PowerShell for you. So if you want to run this, you can do .NET run, and they do the exact same thing.
I never saw this. That's cool.
It's pretty cool. You also can do CMD as well, same thing, and then .NET run. If you want to check if you have .NET, you just type .NET
and then the version, right?
Cool. It will give you this.
Awesome. This is amazing. Okay, so instead of Hello World, can it just be, I don't know, maybe, let me see, whose name, maybe some Hello Your Hamza? It could be something like that, right? It doesn't have to always be World, right?
Yeah, you can change this to whatever you want. Like, again, your variables in C#, they are type safe. Okay, so it's a type safe language, so you have to say what type. Okay, so string, for example, name equals your Hamza. If we want to use that, we can just pass that parameter in. So name like that.
Oh, awesome. And that would just print Hamza's name?
Yeah. So that's that. These are basics.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's basic,
function.
but can we just try and then put in like hello and then your Hamza, put that variable and then the string
like
together. Is it called concatenation or something?
Yeah.
I think that's the name. Yeah.
So I didn't put a space, but there you go. Another cool thing
it prints it out.
Cool. You could do something called string interpolation. So instead of having to do concatenation, you do string interpolation. So that's awesome. That's really cool. Okay, string interpolation. You put a dollar sign, and then these curly braces, and then you also put the name here. I'm just reading the chat. Type safe or strongly typed? Well,
this cool. This cool, man.
Sorry, I guess it's both, right?
What?
C# is both type safe and strongly typed.
Yes. I mean, instead of just saying string name, if you say var, it should still work, right? So
var it does it on assignment. So you can get into that. Var actually, you can't do you can't do this. So you can't do var potato, and then you can't do this and then assign it. You have to assign it straight away
directly.
Like
Okay. Yeah. So you declare and assign on one line. Okay, that's cool.
Okay, so whenever you use var or val, it has to inference on the same line.
Exactly. So very quickly, because we want to get onto the Blazor part, I'm just going to do a quick function for all of you. So we're going to do, what do you want? Choose a simple maths thing. If you want to do a cube root, do you want to find the cube root of a number? Let's do that.
I think we should begin with add.
Okay.
Because if I've never seen it before, I would love to see the simplest function. Okay, but I also observed something. This is static void, right? So void means it's returning nothing, right?
Yeah.
Is that the meaning? Okay, so we can write a function that returns something.
Yeah. So I'm just creating a function which takes these two parameters. And we have 5 and 2. And you see how I could just quickly do that? I didn't even have to make my function. I just typed in my function and the signature that, like the parameters which I would input. Okay. And then I do control period, and then, it does all of this for me, which is pretty cool. Okay. So, Damilola asking to do Doomsday. Oh my days. That's a reference to
Doomsday. Okay. Was Damilola able to do that?
I don't know. I think so.
Okay. So I'm actually observing you doing something, and I feel I am in mass. I mean, not implemented exception. What would I do?
So this, so basically, if we run this right now, this is gonna call. It's gonna do hello your Hamza, and then it's gonna write addition. It's gonna call this function, but when it calls this function, it's gonna throw this exception, and this exception basically tells you it's not implemented. And because we're in debugging mode, it will tell us here. Okay, this is another thing about C#. Okay, if or the Visual Studio in general, if you set it to debugging mode, it will give you errors here. Okay, if say okay, I need to put this. If say I need to do, if I want the error to come up in the window, so if I do Control F5, it will tell me my errors up here. So it won't do this whole, it will do that thing where normally in code, if you don't have an attached debugger, it will give you your error in the window, which is kind of annoying. Or not annoying, but hard to look at. Once you're used to running code with a debugger, then it's nice to have this, you know, well, not IntelliSense. IntelliSense is the auto suggestion, but the nice, you know, helpers. So we're gonna, how do you add two numbers together? You just take, you know, the two numbers and simple math. So we can just return v1 add v2.
Okay, so I actually noticed something. I mean, the first one was static void, and because of that, we didn't return anything. The second function actually is int. So is it compulsory we need to return integer?
Yes. In this case, it is compulsory to return an integer because we're because it's, you know, strongly typed. We have to make sure that we have our type here. You know, we in this case, because we're returning this, we're not printing it out here. We're returning it to print in the right line. So if we run this, we're gonna print it here. So 5 and 2, and there you go. So that's a simple one. If we want to quickly do something else, if we want to find the cube root of a number, does anyone want to do the quick maths for me and do a cube root? You know what you could do? You can do. Let's do a count. So int I equals 0. We can do while I times, so we can do v equals I times I. Should I get into this? I don't think I should. This is gonna take time.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Yeah, I think we should just keep this simple. Yeah, everyone gets the idea.
I'm getting carried away. I wanted to do cube root, but okay, cube root works by, you know, the way I would do it. I would basically check if the number times it by 3 is equal to the number that you're trying to find the cube of. So the input number, you have a number, times it by 3, check if that's equal to the number that was inputted. If it's not, then you increment this value of I, and then you do the same 3 times, you times it by 3 again, you cube it, and then you check. If it's still less, then you keep incrementing it. If it gives above, then you return false. If it eventually equals it, then you return that I value. Okay, that's how I was going to do it.
Awesome.
We don't need to
it's okay. I think we just need to
CP.
keep it simple. Yeah, let's keep it simple here.
I love CP. We started the whole competitive programming group.
Okay, so as of now, I think addition is crying. It's giving red because it feels like you removed it. Okay, so we terminate. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, all right, so that's some fun stuff with C#.
Yeah, we can show you one more thing before we get into the Blazor. Is what? Okay, so class C# is object oriented. Okay, we want to create a class, and I've just named it class 1. Let's not do that. This is bad examples. Here we can go add.
Did you? I think because you created the file, it just named it for you, right?
Yeah. So here's my name, person. I don't even have to put .cs. It knows. And then here's my class. So a person, the name person. What does it have? Okay, person should be capital P, but whatever. Okay, a person has a name, so a first name, a second name, and, you know, country of origin. So what we can do in C#, we can do a prop for. So this is auto-completed. So I can do first name, and then first name, and it does all this nicely. So I'm just going to set up a nice class.
Okay. So this is like you are describing a person, right? So we have a person has first name, second name, might have an image as well, right? Cool.
country of residence. Okay. And we're going to do something like this in Blazor as well. So this is literally, I've just created an object of a person. So if I want to use this later, because it's in the same namespace, I can basically use this here. So I can do what's lowercase p. This is really bad name convention. Person p equals new person, right? And then I haven't actually got a constructor, so I need to create a constructor. So person, and then
It's like so weird. I can person with a small p.
I know, right? I should have just deleted it and redid it. You know, we could just do that. Let's do that. It's so weird.
Okay.
Yeah, naming conventions are very good practice. So people probably screaming at me.
Yeah, if you view this in some other editor or maybe on GitHub, you would be very confused with small little
Yeah.
things.
So we want 3 input
Okay.
parameters. So we want name, name 1, name 2, and we need variables as
Okay.
well.
So very quickly, this is a constructor, right? What would you say a constructor to be? Like it's automatically triggers when the code runs, or
when you instantiate a class, okay, this isn't a static class, which means when the program starts, this won't be run. Okay, you need to create an instance itself. So whenever you create an instance, it will create this basically. Okay.
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 Basically, I think it's somewhat like if you make an object of that class and you need that object to have some values and variables, so you can define it using constructors, and the object will have those values in it.
Cool.
Yeah, you can also have static constructors within C# as well. So you could do this, but your class would also need to be a static class. So yeah, it depends how you're doing it, but in this case we're doing is non-static, and we're going to create an instance of person. So now this looks better. So we can have we can assign our variables using our get and set methods. We don't have to use that. We can use the private methods here because we're within the same class, so it's safe. So we can do name1, first name equals name1. We can do second name equals name2, and we can do country of residence equals country. Okay, so that's our constructor. We're going to go within our program. We can close this, and we can change this back to person. Oh, actually, a nice thing, Control R, Control R. Okay, it doesn't work. Person, and we're going to use our constructor. So we're going to say Ganesh Roy from India. Okay, so that's our instance of a person. Okay, and we can use this later, and we can do like p.firstname, stuff like that, and that's cool. Okay, so that's how you do object orientation. We're not gonna get further into that. Okay, we'll write this. Okay, p.firstname, and that's it. And this should just say Ganesh. Okay, so that's that, and we're gonna hop into Blazor now. So did I not write it? Oh wait, read key. I have a read key here. Okay, there you go. I have read key, so it pauses there. That's why. If I remove the read key, and let me just remove that. So it will say Ganesh now at the end. Okay, cool. Happy everyone?
Yeah, I think I'm excited because actually looking at the code, we've done some fun stuff. We began with building a simple project that runs Hello World to the time where we started implementing variables and then function, and we explain object oriented in a bit, and I think it's fun. Let's just do it.
Cool. So you can go into your solution and you can add a new project, and then you can add a Blazor application, but because that's not the traditional way of doing things, and I don't want you to go into Visual Studio, follow this tutorial, create a console application, and then add a project with a Blazor app, we're just going to create one from scratch. So we're going to close out from Visual Studio, and we're going to open it again. So I'm going to use preview, we're going to launch this, and we'll get into it. So if any of you have questions do feel free to ask them. And Peter, no worries, sorry, you're not late at all. This has just been the basic C sharps. Now we're halfway in, 30 minutes, we just hit that mark. We're going to go for the last half of an hour and do Blazor. So a reminder of the application we're going to create. Let me get their website up. So we're going to try create something like this, okay? Something nice that looks like this. Something, we might not do exactly the same thing, but something, fairly similar along the lines, okay? So it's pretty cool. Imagine doing HTML with C#. That's the dream, okay?
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool.
Cool. So,
You know what we should do? We should have those cards kind of thing, and we should display the messages or comments which we are getting on YouTube right now. So
that would be
I
cool.
guess this would be a good idea.
That would be cool, but we would have to use the YouTube API, and I'm pretty sure they limit that. So, for now, that's something we could do. We could definitely do this open source. So let me just quickly say this before we start.
No, I was not asking for the API integration. I would just
Let's scrape it.
listen to those comments and will tell you about it.
Okay. So just before we get into it, this website is open source on GitHub. If you want to contribute, it's on our MSPInspire repo. If you go into repositories, you can click website. Okay, cool. And it's you've got pipelines. So whenever something's pushed to master or development, for some reason this isn't showing, it will show you the pipeline, and it will be automatically deployed onto a website. Development isn't running at the kind of failed at the moment. I need to fix that, but we're mainly focusing on master. So cool. Let's get into it. So when you start Visual Studio, you get the screen, and it shows you all these things. Okay. So we want to do a Blazor app. So it might not come here. This is because these are the things I use, so it comes here. So if you go into C# and you go into all platforms, because it runs on all platforms as a web thing, and then I don't really go into this, but you can go into cloud, web, either ones. You can see they work. So it's a Blazor app. Okay, so you can try this, and it's the same thing. It will set everything up for you. You can use VS Code, but you don't have to. It makes it a lot longer to do that. So we're not going to do that. We're going to put it in a new folder. So Blazor app demo. Where is it hosted? We haven't associated a domain that we've made public. So it is hosted on a Azure App Service. So it goes through the whole pipeline, and it basically creates an artifact, and that artifact then is a bit, or not artifact, basically is a project which you can use on the app service, because it's not a VM. They use zip projects on app services. So here's our project. We're going to call it Blazor app demo with David and Ganesh. This is how I name my projects. Hello, Hani.
Honey is here.
So we've got ASP.NET Core 3.0 or 3.1. I'm going to do 3.0. I'm going to create our project. So Ganesh, have you used Blazor before?
No, I haven't used Blazor before, but I have seen the codes and it feels much like React to me. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
The JSX part.
Yeah, because basically, Blazor is not just C# in web, okay? Okay, answering Hamza's question as well. So the difference between a normal web page and just HTML and a website in Blazor is that you can use C# in Blazor to make your pages, but not only that, you can use components. It's component based as well. So you can make a component and then use those components inside. So let's go into our page, on our index page. Okay, our index page just looks like a generic HTML page, but as you can see, our directive at the top has an @ symbol. So if you want to start doing code, it's as simple as this. So you can just do string name equals your Hamza. Okay, you can do that. And if I want to use this down here, you can do name it's as simple as that. You're using C# within a HTML page. Okay, we will run this. Oops, I made a syntax error. We can run this now. We run this on IIS Express, so it's on localhost. We'll see if this works. Hopefully it does. I was having my Visual Studio doesn't always run the project, but it looks like it's running now. And there you go. So we literally just use C# within here. Okay, that's our first step. Okay, we're doing that. Okay, and you can imagine how cool this gets. Okay, if I want to start using data. Okay, so if I want to create a person class, let's do a cool thing where we're gonna do that whole thing where it has a bunch of our images or something. Okay, let's do a class of people. Okay, so we'll do a class of us three, me, Ganesh, and David. Okay, we're all in this call, and we're gonna call it people. Okay, we're gonna do speed through this, so we're gonna do pop for. We're gonna do string first. We'll do handle. Okay, we'll do handle, and we'll do string. Let's do image. So what do we want? Anything else?
I think it's okay, fine with this.
Okay, so we have.
So the propful thing which you are doing, is it predefined or have you defined it?
No, that's predefined in Visual Studio, but it won't be in VS Code, which is why I really like Visual Studio. You get like CW for console.writeLine. Unfortunately, there's no console.readline shortcut, which is a bit of a surprise. But yeah, you can see how I literally just made a proper class, an object of two things, just like that.
Yeah.
So we just need to do our constructor. So we're gonna
see. I think with a constructor, can't you do like CTOR and then hit on it and then it creates the constructor for you?
I think that does it. CTR. I think they have something like that in React, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not even in C#. I think there's a constructor shorthanded there. Yeah.
Oh, possibly. That could be the case. There's always more things for me to learn in .NET. There's a bunch of things. It's a plethora, long list of things which never end. You know, we're just going to do H and we're going to do image with an I, so that it's clear to see that we're doing handle equals H, and then image equals I. Okay, cool. And you can see it color codes it nicely. Okay, that's our constructor. We have an object. And we're going to create a class, and we're going to create, multiple people, okay? Persons. I know this is grammatically probably sounds weird, but, it makes sense if you look at it that you have an extra S. Okay, so in here we're just going to have a list of person, and we're going to call it persons or persons. And we're going to do equals new list of person. Okay, so we're going to have our list, and we need to reference this. Hold on, this person. Oh, sorry, people. It's people. List of people. Okay, this will be a bit confusing. Okay, and now we can add people to this. So new people, and then we don't have to do it like this. We can do it like this, and we can do people p1 equals new people, and then we can go into our constructor, and we can pass in the name Dawood, and then your image. Where's your image? Okay, so we're gonna go on Dawood's Twitter, so if you want you can follow Dawood as well. So get Dawood's Twitter.
Oh, this is cool. So you can just copy, the link to my image, and then I'll just display there, right? Like my image. Oh, that's cool.
So we're gonna go into here now. Okay, so we have Dawood's class. We're gonna do Ganesh. I'm not doing handle actually. Let me do that. that I would adjust so that you go follow him. Let's get Ganesh's. And you know, any of you could be in here in the future.
Yay!
Go follow Ganesh. What is this? Ganesh.
Okay, I think you need to. No.
Someone took your
Why
handle.
is it? Oh, yeah. He took my handle on Twitter.
I thought you had
So
everything.
everywhere I'm GAT786, but here I am not GAT786.
I've never actually looked at your image in big. Oh, where are you looking? Why are you looking at the ground? I'm joking.
Oh, I literally don't know what I was doing. My friend was taking
Took
the
the picture
picture
and it was
and
like
he
nice, right?
told me to look.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
picture.
Okay, this is awesome. All right, so we
Lemon.
basically created a class, right? And then within the class, we had a constructor. The constructor takes in handle and also an image of a person. And yeah, so literally, we want to just consume this particular class in our Blazor template.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see how it goes.
So I'm just gonna add everything to
There's a typo in the third people.
Oh,
Ah,
thank you.
yeah.
This is the benefit of doing this with other people. Persons, other people.
Awesome.
Oh wait, sorry, I need to do this within something. I've just defined these. Let's do this in a persons class. In our constructor for persons. So persons. Let's do a public constructor. And we're gonna do persons. The add, and then we're gonna add P1.
I think this is one fun thing I like about C#, the fact that you could just add to a list just with this flexible functions. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm. It's very nice.
All right. So we haven't put in an identifier for persons. So will it be public friendly or something like private? What would it be?
If I didn't put this, it would be default to private.
Okay.
So this wouldn't be accessible if I wanted to use this constructor. This would be a private constructor which I couldn't access.
Okay.
So in this case, it's not. So if I did that, we can make this a static thing. So we can make it static constructor, but then I would have to make everything else static. So I'm not going to do that.
Oh, yeah, just keep it this way. Let's see how it runs.
Yeah. So we're just
Okay.
going to do an instance of persons. So we're going to do up here, we're going to do person, p persons, persons equals new persons. Whoops. Persons. It's really confusing. Okay, we've now used our constructor. Reference cannot be found. Okay, so we need to actually use our data thing up here because we're now in a different folder. So in order to do that, we need to do a whole using thing.
Okay, so it becomes accessible.
Yeah, so data dot persons. Hold on.
I think when you actually write in the basic code which printed hello world, I even wanted to ask you about the namespace thing. What does it mean? Because I think that could have led us to this particular thing.
Okay, so basically the way namespaces work, okay, you basically have, how will I describe this? So up here you can see it's our namespace. So if you go into program, you can see this is our namespace. So if you want to actually use this code within this namespace, you have to be within here. Though that isn't the case by default. That is the case because you would use this namespace and this would all be in here. Okay, but if you were in another namespace, for example, if I added another project, you can see this is all this project. If I had the console app, that would have its own namespace. You can then add a reference. So for example, you can go to add and you can go to reference and then you can go in here and you can look, okay, we have a different solution, we have a different project. Then you can add that namespace and things. You can use those references, which is pretty nice and neat and handy like that. But yeah, that's basically how namespaces work. In this case, we're using just this one namespace, and you don't need to do that, but it's handy to know. So actually,
Cool.
where's our thingy? So we need to do our using thing. So we'll do using, and we need to use our namespace name, and you have to do whatever your folder is. So our persons class is within data. So we go to
Data.
data.
Okay.
Okay. So that's what we're
Cool.
gonna do. We don't actually need this here. We can do it up here.
Oh, cool.
And there you go. So that's now allowed me to use my persons class, which is within the data folder. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. So how are we gonna interact with
Display
this?
it.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing I actually realized is that Blazor actually comes by default with a Bootstrap scaffolded, right? So that means that we could actually write some Bootstrap classes, or we could just display, the handle and also the title beneath it for now. Then maybe we talk about how Bootstrap would be awesome to use here.
Yeah.
And for those of you watching, I think if you don't know about Bootstrap, it's just like a front end framework, right? You just they have a lot of classes, bunch of them, for you to be able to call without writing your own class, right? So it gets you started. So you just go to getbootstrap.com, and I think you should have it.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that's yeah. Bootstrap is over here. You can see it's they're using Bootstrap within Blazor. It's set up already. So we can do that. We can use Bootstrap, which is really nice. So if you're a web developer already, it's got a lot of stuff set up for you. So we're going to use our persons class. So how do we do that?
Cool.
I'm not the best web dev ever.
Yeah, so we just have a class container. Yep, and then within the class, we should have like a row. Yep, and each row contains like 12 columns. So we should have like a class column, and column could actually be just 12, and which means it would default to, the small size of a screen, stuff like that. Cool.
Cool. So we have that, and then inside of here, we want to do a for each over every element we have here. Right?
So what I'm thinking is that if we actually want to display each person, I mean the three of us to be within one row, then it means that we should have our for each above the call, right? The div call.
Exactly.
So yeah.
So we're going to do a for each. So again, if we want to use C# code, we use the at. We can either do an at code and you have a code block and you have the curly braces, or you can just do like a one line like this. So we can do a for each. So we can do person and persons.
Oh, cool. I like this.
And then in here, you don't need to, this by default will use the code thing. So
okay.
you don't need
so
let's
move.
Sorry.
I think what we need to do, let's move the, above the for each, we actually have the div, which is called 12, right? Let's move it inside here. Okay. And then let's distribute it evenly. Since it's going to be 12 columns, then we say 4, right? So for each of us, we take, 4 columns. So that will be 12. So just move the code. Let me just, move the top code.
I'll let you control the screen.
Yeah. Awesome. So I think I'll just highlight this, awesome, and I'll cut it from there.
You want to
and I'll
put
put it in here. Exactly. So that, the rows are defined in here. And then all we need to do is to make sure that we close our div in here, right? So like we have a div, and then we close it right here. Okay, so that means that we don't need this particular column, which is beneath there. Cool. So we just need to make sure that this becomes 12, okay? Make it 4. The column should be 4. Cool.
Cool. So that's that. And now within this, we can now use our code. So we have two things in our class, in our people class. So in our persons, we got the handle and we got an image, okay? And this is just fetched from Twitter. So if you want to go see this image, you can click on it and it will open. Dawood, okay? So that's his picture. We're gonna go and use this in our page. So what we can start with should we start with the image? Let's start with the name at the top. So we'll do H1. And H1 might be a bit big, but whatever. Okay, let's do a H3. Okay. So we're gonna do your handle. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use person. And we're gonna get that variable of person.
Handle.
So what it's doing now is probably giving us an error because it might be not compiling. We can just make this a bit simpler, and we can do one. This should hopefully save it, but you probably need to you need to we need to have a class for persons. We need to have a class to get persons. So what we can do is we can do get persons, public get persons.
Okay.
We can go and do more code. So if we go into our class, let's get into our class, and we can return person. There's persons at the top. Yeah, I'm just looking at the chat.
So
to make sure
I
everyone is
think
okay.
Salman and Gomo would be doing this again, but I mean they will build upon what we are doing today. So just stay tuned for that. And not today. I mean, in some weeks to come, they'll be doing that.
Yeah, is everyone
Salman,
okay
you
in the
didn't
chat?
define the return type. You didn't define the return type.
Yeah, how's everyone in the chat doing? Just checking out if there's any questions. Everything okay in the chat?
Oh, my phone.
I think namespace can be defined as a region. Yeah. Cool.
So namespaces basically let you avoid, name collision, but it saves you a ton of things in your classes.
Let me just get this. I'm thinking this is just a build error actually. I think this is just a build error. We don't actually need this. This should just be a build error. So I think if we just run it, it should. Sometimes with Blazor, so it's fairly new still, so it might give errors when there's not actually an error. Persons does not have a definition.
Oh, you don't.
Persons equals new. Oh right, okay. I know what I'm doing. Okay, so in persons, persons is the name of our list as well.
Okay.
I'm trying to access this. Okay, I'm trying to access persons, but persons is within the name of this, which we've also called persons. So that's what I'm doing. This is where naming conventions goes a bit haywire. So we're gonna do p. Okay, so we'll do np, and then we need to do p.persons. Okay, so then we can do person. Sorry, person.person. So is this p.person?
Okay, it looks like you still have this full stop somewhere. I mean the dots in the class.
The dot in the class?
Yeah, within your H3.
So p.persons. This should hopefully come up.
That's a private thing.
Okay.
Yeah, public. Let's make that public. There you go.
Let me actually check in.
This is the thing.
What exactly do you have in
everything's
here?
public
So we have a variable for person.
So now what we can do is we can use the handle. Okay.
Cool.
I had a bit of a weird thing where I forgot to make it public. So there you go. So src, and we're gonna set this to be person dot. Oh, we don't need the quotations. We can do src person dot. Why is CSS coming up?
Maybe it's just trying to look into your CSS folder to see whether it can find some image. I don't know, some weird thing stuff.
I didn't put @ symbol. Okay. So if you need to put @ symbol whenever you're calling your variables from C#. Okay. So here we go. We have our header and we have our image. Okay. So this is doing a for each, and then in the div, it's going to render a div every time with the person's handle and then a person's image, and these are all from our person's class, and then it will just iterate over that nicely. Okay. So we're going to do that, and we're just going to run it, and hopefully everything will be nice. Let's see.
Okay.
It's gonna take some time.
Oh, it worked. Awesome.
So
All right. This looks fine.
So
okay, so that was so fast. I mean, just some minutes we were able to write a code. Within we actually began with C#, fundamental of it, and then we came to Blazor, and then we are able to display something in our browser. That's so cool.
Yeah, like the thing is, if you don't need any of this stuff, this just makes it look nicer. You can literally have these essentially 5 lines of code and you've got like this already. You don't have to, like in HTML, standard HTML, you just have to do the whole, oh, I do this, and you paste it like 3 times or something. And then you have to, that already multiplies your code by like 3, okay? So imagine if you just have this and you just like keep adding people. For example, I can just add Satya Nadella, and all these things. And it's pretty cool, it's pretty nice. Unfortunately, we're kind of running out of time since it's already 16 minutes. But this is actually nice because in the future we can look more into getting more into advanced features and things like that. There's a nice thing, what you can do is called bind. I quickly mentioned that. So if you want to do, say, is it a slider? You can do a slider. Okay, so we can bind this to something, and then basically what happens when you bind, when you do a bind in HTML to C#, it's a two-way binding. So if you're familiar with XAML, you can have one-way binding or two-way binding. So when you change something in the UI, it will reflect in the code, and then if it changes in the code, it will reflect in the UI. So that's basically how you use binding within
Binding. Okay.
Blazor.
Just like Vue.js. Is anyone in the chat who knows about Vue.js? Okay, just go ahead.
Cool.
I'll check it.
I think I'm gonna stop there because we're coming up to an hour.
Yeah.
If any of you have questions, do let me know.
All right. So that was actually a quick intro into Blazor, and our website is actually open source. You could go in there and check all these codes that we wrote in there, and then see whether you can contribute something. Okay. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. What I do want to quickly, what should we show? Yeah, we can just quickly show the code of the website now. And if you notice anything you want to change, go ahead, visit the repo. So I'm gonna actually use the cool timeline feature. If we go in here, we can open our website. So timeline on Windows, you use the Windows tab key, and it's pretty cool. You can see your history for like 30 days. And here we go. So this is our, our final website, which we're working on now. It gets a bit more complicated. So this, you have the home page, and we just show an image. We're doing the same sort of thing here. If we run this, so these are our latest changes. Me and Dawood were working on this earlier on. What we have with the images is we're using Bootstrap as well.
Yeah.
And we're doing some rounded circles for images. So if we go into team here, you can see we've got rounded circles. This is doing the same thing with the, for each loop, basically. The certificate page. This certificate page, if we actually look at how short the code is for the certificate page, if we go into Solution Explorer, we go into certificate. So okay, I haven't shorted it yet, but basically this is how it would look in traditional HTML. Okay, but what I'm working on is turning this into the whole for each iteration. So you can see in our class down here, do I have it? Have I put this in master yet? I don't think I've put it in master. Step and steps. Okay, so you can see I'm setting up the class, and then I'm basically going to set this, and then it will just be a for each loop over like 4 times, 4 things. So yeah.
Awesome.
What else? Last things. So this is the video class, which there's the whole thing Gomo started working on, and the page is literally like this. If you look at the actual videos, if you look at this, look at the code. And this is using a component. So we didn't go into components, we didn't have that much time. So we want to save that for when we do another talk with Gomo. So yeah, cutting off just to about an hour now. Hope you all enjoyed. Thank you everyone in the chat. Thank you Hani. Thank you Rohit. Thank you Damilola. Thank you Samir. Thank you everyone. Thank you Hamza.
Thank you guys for letting me join in.
No problem. Thank you for being here always.
Yeah, like I said, it all boils down to the fact that gone were the days when you had no community, you'll be searching online just to find somewhere to patch yourself so that when you have some, you need to, ask a question, it becomes like, you easily wanted a place where you could just ask someone question, right? MSP Inspire is just, a consistent thing, just always come 4:30 around and then let's just discuss what is actually is new in the tech trend, right? So thank you so much for joining us. Remember to stay in touch with us on Twitter, YouTube, and everywhere at all. All right. And if you want to learn maybe some GitHub stuff before you start contributing to our open source, I have some cool tutorial on GitHub. I think it's right on my channel, Dawid Idris, yeah, on YouTube. Okay. All right. So thank you.
Cool. And we are finding a random tweet to show. Here we got our Peter. So our Peter's the other our Peter, not the our Peter who we know. Well, we know this our Peter as well.
Yeah,
we
I
have
think
our
he's a
Peter's
new
tweet.
MSP or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. We know both the Apita.
Yeah. So trying to feature people's tweets now on stream. So if you want to tweet at us, use the hashtag. Follow us as well. I just showed Ganesh's Twitter, then this my Twitter as well, and then you also have Dawood Idris on Twitter. So yeah, follow all of us. Also follow MSPInspire, of course. And I hope you all enjoyed. Yeah, Dawood, go ahead and like this. This is from March 24th to 24th. I guess I've never seen this. I never knew Dawood this time last year. So Dawood would think I'm stalking him.
Okay. So what are you saying?
Because I'm just liking yours. You might get a notification that I just liked your recent post from 20.
This is spam.
From
This is
24th of
spam.
March.
All right. Yeah, thanks so much for everything and thanks for joining us. My birthday isn't showing, right?
Your birthday is on the 25th.
Cool.
And last thing, the feature I'm also working on currently is using the feed from Twitter, and that's going to be a page. So basically similar to the YouTube page, we're going to do a service basically to fetch the tweets and then render those on the page. So feel free to contribute to open source. It's great, and you'll become a contributor. Become like one of these contributors on the website already. And you can, have fun. Cool.
Oh, Gomo is there. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try and commit something, all right?
You're
Try
there
and
too,
commit.
you're there. And Cinderella.
Yeah.
He corrected Sabiha's name. You could find literally a spelling mistake or like something like that and get a comment on here.
Very important.
Hey, I found that mistake.
You found it, but Cinderella. You can steal it.
Okay, so I think we're gonna drop the trailer and then we promise just stay in touch with us anytime. We don't bite, okay?
Yeah, and if anyone wants to play Scribbler, this time I'll actually be there in like 5 minutes, okay? We'll be Scribbler. Okay, Ganesh, don't go to sleep. I will be there. And I will join us on Scribbler, okay?
Yeah.
Sure.
Some reason you
And
can't,
then
just stay on the call. In 1 minute, I'll join you after the trailer. Thank you, everyone. Don't forget to follow everyone on Twitter. Have a nice day. Don't forget to do exercise.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Stay safe.
And stay safe. And be a good person. Okay. Learn, share, and inspire.
Wow,
let me get the
that's
video.
a great thing.
Thank you. Really appreciate. Where's my mouse gone? Okay, there you go. Okay, let me get the video up. I'm gonna get the trailer. Bye. Tweet us, and we will potentially feature you next week.
That you will learn something.